Some of the most challenging times in our history. These are the words used by Walmart Chairman Gregory Penner as he opened the Walmart shareholders meeting on June 1st. And he's absolutely right. We've all experienced multiple years now of global supply chain disruption, COVID-19, port delays, production capacity, and so much more. We receive a lot more context when CEO Doug McMillon answers his first question related to our supply chain struggles. Doug's response, however, focused on inflation, which when we consider what we're seeing today, the two are virtually one and the same. Our supply chain struggles are largely the cause of the inflation that is now putting so much pressure on the U.S. and Walmart consumers. Clearly, gas prices play a large role in this dynamic, but we can't leave out the impact of increasing consumer demand in the U.S. exceeding the supply for consumer goods, not to mention China's zero-tolerance policy against COVID-19 and now the war in Ukraine. The U.S. consumer in 2020 and 2021 received an unprecedented amount of stimulus money that largely went to consumer goods due to the lack of travel opportunities and, for a time, the inability to dine out. McMillon concluded his comments on inflation and supply chain by stating, quote, "Today, when I think about supply chain concerns, I'm less worried about what's happening with container flow and more concerned about what's happening with inflation itself." So our supply chain struggles of the last few years are now transitioning to inflationary struggles. Inflation is one of those words we hear from experts that seems very ominous, but for my 40-something and younger friends, we've never lived through serious inflation. The last example of it was in the early 1980s. But inflation impacts the cost of everything we buy, from homes to cars to paper towels and diapers at your local Walmart. This same inflation is what enabled Walmart and other national retailers to exceed their sales estimates for the first quarter, not by selling more product, but by selling them at higher prices. However, these higher prices didn't directly improve the retailers' bottom lines because they'd already absorbed increased costs of fuel, transportation, labor, and some price increases that suppliers had already had to pass along. Our outlook for the year sees higher sales in terms of dollars, but fewer units than anticipated, with margin constraints on all sides for both suppliers and retailers. Private label is becoming more of a focus as consumers switch from their preferred brands to what they need and can afford. We think suppliers should anticipate requests from their supplier partners for more partnership pertaining to markdown dollars to move through obsolete inventory, as well as expect to see some Q3 and Q4 orders reduced from what was anticipated or even committed to a few months ago. In short, 2022 is going to be the year of pain and hard decisions for both retailers and CPG, necessitating the need for strategic decisions in order to remain in distribution and even grow market share, setting the stage for 2023 to be the year of recovery. We believe that value, necessities, and at-home delivery, in order to save the consumer on gas costs, will be themes for the rest of the year for retailers, consumers, and CPG firms.